So once you kind of realize that your life is in your hands, and as you get older, you're going to have more independence. So as a teenager, you still might be living with your parents and you have to follow their rules, but you have to start preparing for the day when you are going to have independence, because it's not that far away. So the first chapter is to just start. So that means taking small actions and getting closer to your goals, even if it feels like they're really far away. So for an example, someone I interviewed who is a travel blogger, she felt like when she was living with her parents when she was like 17, that her parents didn't want her to travel. They wanted her to stay and go to school. And she knew she couldn't like tell them off right then and there because, they were paying for her housing, they were paying for her college. What she did was she started to save up money and she started to plan where she would travel, and she learned all about it. She read and, she studied so that when the time came, when she was, 18 or wherever you are, however old it is when you finally become an adult, then she started to make her own decisions. So that's the first one, is that you can start preparing for your future, even if you're not there yet. And I think as well, with just starting, it's okay if you don't know what you want to do with your life yet. And I know there's probably a lot of pressure from teachers and parents, but it's okay if you don't know yet. And you just need to start trying different things so that you can find really what you're meant to do. And then the second one is to believe. So it's really all about believing in yourself, but also believing that success is possible for you, or whatever success looks like, you can achieve it. And a big part of this chapter is about your thoughts. So I know I really struggle. I still struggle with this sometimes, but I've found tools to help now manage it. Is when negative thoughts come into your head, what do you do about it? So I used to believe every negative thought that came into my head. I thought, well, if I think I'm really ugly today, or if I'm thinking no one loves me and I'm not good enough, that it must be true because I'm thinking it. But it turns out you actually have to be like managing those thoughts 24/7, and you can choose not to believe them. And I know it sounds like, maybe you guys have heard this in your talks before, but it really, really kind of just changed the entire way I thought. I didn't know that was even possible. Like, it seems kind of crazy, but you can kind of, if a negative thought comes into your head, you can change it with a neutral thought. So sometimes, saying, oh, I'm beautiful is like a positive affirmation, and it's a good thing. But for me, that didn't seem super realistic because it just seemed like too untrue that I would never believe it. So I just kind of changed it to, I am okay, like I'm fine, something neutral. And over time, the more you correct yourself and the more you replace it with a neutral thought, then you start to get those negative thoughts out of the way, because they're not worth your time. They're not helping anyone. And I realized more that you have to believe in yourself if you ever want to feel happy or like enjoy your life, because you can't rely on that from other people. So I think the second chapter is honestly my favorite chapter. And there's way more in the book too about that. And then the third chapter is called Appreciate. So this one is really about just kind of widening your perspective of your life and of the world, and that, everything might not be perfect right now and it might kind of suck, but it's going to get better. And I think learning to look at the good things in your life, even if there's only a few, but acknowledging them kind of helps you appreciate it a little bit more. And this chapter is also about having a little bit more of a worldly view. So just interacting with different people from different places in the world, different cultures, kind of helps you like have self-awareness. So you realize what you have, or what you do want in life, what you don't want in life. So that one's a little bit more about mindset. But those are the three things. And they're simple on the surface, but it really does take some time to cultivate them. And I try and throw in some strategies and tools that helped me really master those and continue. Like it's a process you have to continue to work on.
Thank you so much. So the next question is, would you
You're
like to
welcome.
tell us something about your teen years? How were your teen years?
How were my teen years? Oh, I do not even want to think about it. So I write a little bit about it in the intro, but my teen year, I think the beginning of my teen years were okay. They were good. They were just kind of normal, awkward, but I was having fun. My family was good. And then right around my 16th birthday, which, in the US, it's like your sweet 16. It's supposed to be a big, exciting event. That's when kind of my family started to fall apart. My parents were getting a divorce. My grandparents passed away. My sister was going to college. I was losing all my friends, and I just really became very depressed and very anxious. And I just had no idea why I was alive. Honestly, I had no purpose. I didn't know who I was. I hated going to school every day. So there were good moments for sure. Like, I did have fun with my sporting events or with family sometimes, but it was really, really hard. And um, I think it got so bad when I was 19. I was very suicidal, and it honestly got so bad that I had a moment that just kind of woke me up. Like, I got so close to ending my life that I was like, you know what? I can't handle this anymore. I think someone out there needs me to stay alive, and someone needs me. And I didn't know who, but now that I'm speaking about it, now that I write the book, I see that there's so many like of you who need to hear these words. So from that moment on, I decided to learn how to get better. Honestly, I started reading self-improvement books. I started, seeing therapists and trying to change my mindset, just learning as much as I could. Like, I think I read 50 books one year, and I just wanted to learn how to get better. And, in my early 20s, I thought I kind of had it like figured out. But the more that I grow, the more I'm learning that some mental illness is something you do live with forever. But it doesn't mean that you have to let it control your life forever. So it's like a consistent maintenance. And, if I ever feel depressed, um, I know that my like world isn't ending. It's just, okay, I might feel depressed for a few weeks. Let's adapt. Let's figure out what I can do. So yeah, my teenage years were kind of years of confusion, honestly. But I think I learned a lot from it. So I'm really grateful for the experiences.
We're so proud of you for holding on to life. So, so like you said, mental illnesses do tend to stay with you for rest of your lives. And I was clinically diagnosed with depression, I think 1 year back. And I was going to therapy. While in 10th grade, I was going to professional therapy. So my next question is, how can we normalize taking a day off for mental health and seeing a therapist as a teenager?
Wait, I had a hard time hearing you. How can taking a day off? Is that what you said?
How can we normalize going to therapy?
Um, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I'm not sure I have a great answer just because I'm not necessarily a mental health professional, but it is something that I have experienced, I guess, just personally, and I still go to therapy. I would say, just if someone brings it up, just treat it like it's normal. Or if I'm like have something to do, I'm like, oh yeah, I have therapy or whatever. Like it doesn't have to be this big, scary secret. I think in the same sense, if you feel like someone else in your life needs therapy, you can't just like tell them to go to therapy. Like that's not normalizing it necessarily. That's just kind of, it's hard when you see someone else who you feel like could use it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess just not being weird when the topic comes up and just kind of like going with the conversation.
What were the challenges you faced while writing your book?
Oh, the challenges I faced